Hello YouTube. This week I've actually managed to do a little bit of meal prep. I really just not had time for this. I know it's supposed to be one of those time-saving things, but I have honestly not had time for this in the longest time. The whole of August has just been insanity. So it's been more, right, what have we got? What did I make for dinner? Just throw it in a tub, that'll be fine. Yeah, just craziness. But this week, in an attempt to try and curb that craziness a little bit, I have done a bit of meal prep. So the reason behind this was I had a real hankering for something I used to make for lunches many moons ago, before I was vegan. And that is an omelette, which is filled with minted peas and feta. Simple. All of it can easily be veganized. And I just really had a hankering for it. So rather than just make one, I thought I would make a few. So then that way that is lunches sorted for the next couple of days for both of us. And also, you know, I get what I'm hankering. Win-win. So with a vegan omelette, there are a lot of egg replacement products out there that you can use. I have to admit I am not a huge fan of them. I've tried a couple. One of them, oh my god, is the one that comes in the little egg box, like the 4 egg box. I got given some by a friend, and when I opened it, I thought, oh my god, Gigi has just done the worst fart. That smells horrific. What the hell? Made it, and it was like, oh yeah, this is alright, it's fine. And then the next time I went to use some more of it, there was that smell again. It's like, oh my god, Gigi, I am so sorry. I thought something had died. But no, it was this egg stuff, and it reeks. It's so strong smelling. It's like, no, I can't have this in my house. It is way too stinky. Personally, I prefer to go with things like this, which is chickpea flour based, rather than a kind of quote replacer. I'm just a fan of doing things more, I don't want to say naturally, because obviously a lot of these things are natural. They are natural ingredients, it's not chemicals, but you know what I mean. Not even like whole foods. I prefer to do it with minimal ingredients that I can pronounce and I understand and that I can put together myself, rather than buying something from a packet that does all these kind of like weird things. Each to their own. This is just something that I personally prefer. So what I'm doing with my omelette, now I've rambled on for a bit, is it is chickpea flour. And then we've got flavourings like nutritional yeast, we've got some turmeric in there to give it some colour, black salt to give it like the eggy flavour, little things like that. And then we have got some baking soda in it. So not baking powder, baking soda. And what I do, because you see when I'm kind of like trying to mix it, it's quite lumpy. Put 2/3 of the amount of water in it, leave it to sit for a bit, go have a cup of tea, go have a cup of coffee. That's what I did. Leave it for a bit and then come back to cook it, put your extra bit of water in, and the dough is so much smoother. It just gets rid of the lumps, and it also allows the flour to properly hydrate, because sometimes with chickpea flour, obviously I've just said I'm doing this because I prefer chickpea flour, but sometimes with chickpea flour it has that really raw taste because it's not been properly hydrated and it's not been kind of properly cooked through. I found that this just really helps with it. It's a simple way of doing it. Literally, all you do is you just let it sit for a bit, and then you go back and add a bit more water until it's the consistency that you want. And then also when you're adding that extra little bit of water, I put in some cider vinegar, and that activates the baking soda. So it gives you kind of a little bit of levity. So when you're cooking it, you'll see when I was cooking it that you get the little bubbles coming up. That's the baking soda doing its job and giving you a little bit of kind of lightness to these, rather than it just being a really heavy chickpea pancake, because chickpeas can be very heavy. This just lightens it up a bit. Now, fillings wise, I have got my much craved minted peas. Now, I've got frozen peas which I've thawed out, rather than faffing about with fresh herbs, because I always find unless it's coriander, which I would happily just eat on its own, my herbs just end up dying. And then they go in the freezer for things like curries, but frozen mint doesn't work too well, and also it wouldn't work well in something like this because it just turns brown and nasty and slimy. If you're putting it in a curry, it's perfect, but something like this, it really doesn't. So what I do is I have a jar of mint sauce in the cupboard because it lasts forever. A little tiny bit of that, mixing it in, and you've got minted peas. It saves on waste from the herbs. It lasts forever. So I thoroughly suggest, if you like minting things every now and then, just grab a jar of mint sauce. They're like 20p or something stupid, and it's so much easier. So I've mixed those together with a little bit of red onion. Now I'm making these in advance, so if I was eating this right now, the onion would be a bit overpowering. But because I am eating this like the next day, it gives the onion chance to kind of calm down a little bit and mellow out to go with everything else. And then finally, instead of feta, I have got Bute Island's Greek cheese, which is exactly the same. So this is the omelette that I have been so desperately after, really easily turned into something vegan. Then, because I made 4 of the omelettes, and I have to warn you, the omelettes are very much like pancakes. The first one will be sacrificed. It will just fall apart, but put it on toast. That's what I did. You can crumble it on things. It's just fine. It's just not a circle. So the second one, because I made 4 omelettes, is hummus and veggies. Simple. So there you have it. If you want the full recipe, head on over to Patreon, because there will be a PDF recipe over there. Thank you for watching. And yeah, we will see you again soon.